The interesting thing is,
stop ranting. You kicked us off.
a lot of times, no, it was definitely on my end. It was definitely on, yeah, that could be. Definitely on my end, but I'm not sure if it was Restream.io, because I had to log back into Restream, or if it was Ecamm. But in the past, Ecamm will pick up the same feed and just keep on feeding again. We'll see what happens. Anyway, Brad, go ahead. Let's see if we get kicked off again.
Okay, so what was I saying? I was saying, imagine a world. So Frame.io. I was talking about Frame.io, right?
Yep.
You guys heard that?
Yeah.
Camera to cloud workflow today is that you can shoot. There's proxies. The audio goes up. It's all synced in the cloud. Camera to cloud workflow in the future that they're trying to build is that eventually your camera will be, and we can see it from this stream, how that's why it cut out, is how well web streaming works. But in the future, your original media will live in the cloud, and all the proxies and all the dailies and everything will be generated automatically, right? So if you live in that world, then in that world, I would love to have a big iPad, maybe bigger than the 13-inch they currently offer, sitting in front of me. I'm sitting on a couch, and I've got my 65-inch or 85-inch OLED on the wall, and it's playing the video, and I've got a timeline in front of me, and I've got AI that's telling me like, oh, you have these takes you can pick from, and you can, like a simpler interface, but it's like feeding me what I need when I need it, so I don't have to jump back into a browser and search through all my media or my bins and traditional editing systems. It's just popping up options for me, and I'm making selections, and I'm moving things around with a little Apple Pencil or with my hands. That's the type of iPad editing I would love. And then we're all looking at a big TV. In fact, almost the editing interface starts to disappear at that point. There's less buttons, there's less that I have to deal with and manage. So right now in today's world, I've got, you've got if you got lucky enough to have like a Pro Display XDR and a Mac Pro cooking along, then you've got all this real estate, and you've got all these buttons, and you've got all this stuff, and you feel like, how could I possibly shrink this on an iPad? And the answer is you don't. You throw all that away, and you create a completely different user interface. And then it really does become about that. The part I like, and what I loved about jumping to Final Cut 10 from Final Cut 7 was in the Final Cut 7 days when I would work with producers and directors, and I got to a certain stage in the edit. In the rough cut, we could do just about anything. But once we started laying in titles and sound effects and music, managing those tracks and worrying about breaking those tracks and breaking something, I had to think of 4 or 5 steps ahead of how I was going to make an edit. Right. And there's people that are really good at it, and they know exactly what they're doing. But what I found myself doing is when they wanted to make a simple change, swap out a shot, add a few frames, whatever, I started getting very defensive. And I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? Because I'm thinking of all the stuff I have to do and worry about, and what if I break things, and how long is it going to take me to fix it?
Sure.
And with 10 in the magnetic timeline, a lot of that anxiety, when I embraced it, a lot of that anxiety went away. And now it was like, yeah, sure, let's try it. I'm open for anything. Let's just try it. And I think we'll get even more to that when the interface starts going away. And I think Dan was talking a little bit about how AI is going to help bridge that. So, I don't want computers to take over the creative process.
In the future, we'll be editing.
Yeah,
we'll be editing with the Apple glasses, or and it's funny what you said. It's going to be another change moment where people are the house that FCP 10 built, and suddenly it all goes away, and it's a whole different way of editing or storytelling. I like to get back to storytelling, but maybe,
absolutely.
Maybe it's a big digital campfire in front of you, and you're placing images, or maybe maybe they're going to be a table or something, or it's who knows what it's going to be. But that's an exciting concept and idea. They're going to have to fix Siri first, though.
Yes.
You really want to do that? Yes.
I hope the Final Cut Pro team's not involved with Siri. They got enough on their plate as it is. So the WWDC icons, everybody's wearing glasses. Does that mean anything? All the icons, everybody's wearing glasses. Does that mean anything? I noticed that.
You're decoding. We're reading the tea leaves or whatever again.
Well, I just picked that up, and I said, well, that's kind of odd that everybody, all the icons, at least the ones that I saw, were wearing glasses.
So we'll see.
The journey is
because Mac displays
the reward.
vision.
Well, there's a lot of talk about VR.
That's what I mean. The glasses, the Apple glasses, but I don't think they've ever done everybody wearing glasses before, but they did. So we're going to see a new M1 Mac or an iMac or something coming up sometime between now and maybe WWDC probably, right? Aren't we?
I just saw some article about potentially a larger screen iMac.
Right.
I'm actually in the market. It's funny how time flies, because I used to think I had the state-of-the-art Mac Pro. I bought it on my birthday. That was, I think, in 2018, or 2 months before they came out with the 16-inch MacBook Pro. And it's like, oh, okay, it went still fast. But now it's 2021.
Right.
And I bought that computer when my other MacBook Pro was 9 years old, but I still use it. But, it's time for me to buy again. And Serena, it's great that you have one of those new Mac Pros. I'd love one of those. I
still work on the iMac in the other room, but I think it's a 2014, and I love it.
Yep.
But I need a new one, and how much can you buy? Do I buy a new iMac Pro for the other studio, or do I get the new wonderful monitor from Apple, which I would love to have.
They discontinued the iMac Pro, so
right.
Yeah.
And is it part of the world reset or the 2030 mindset? I mean, is Apple thinking about that? No, seriously though. I'm in my own city, and man, no,
We're just gonna wave our hands around and move things like they do in the movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
Might get tired.
Yeah.
Can I say
maybe
one
can do
thing
an
about
hand drive sitting at the, but
one thing I really want to relay is, when we've been in Cupertino, I've had the opportunity to see a lot of the Apple folks in person, and they have told me several years in a row that they really do listen. They read every single email we send, and they do care. I mean, they'd be crazy if they didn't care about their clients. And the other thing is that I don't know what your experience is, but if I ever have an issue, I just get on the phone and I call Apple support, and they are there and they stick with me until we solve it together. And you can't do that with every company. So,
right.
I know, just even with all the plugins, I know some of the people in the chat were talking about all the plugins for Final Cut. And of course, my involvement with Philip and Greg and Lumberjack, I've seen that from the other side as well. There's a whole ecosystem that is supporting us every day. And I don't know, it'd be nice to know how many people are developing apps. Do we have a count for the number of people behind the scenes? It'd be fun to know that, wouldn't it?
They'll probably,
or Dan? They'll
probably listen to you, Serena, and maybe mention something at WWDC. Who knows? I've got the personality where I like to poke fun at myself. So, good-natured, even Apple, I'm sure, it's a healthy thing to acknowledge, what people want, what you may have done in the past, what you can do better. I love Apple, and, they're here to stay, which leads me back to my question. It's like, come on. They're helping putting people on the moon. I'm sure they're gonna, when are we gonna get this stuff? When is it? Who knows? But it's exciting, that's for sure. I mean, they have all the technology. They've got the Apple Pen. They're coming out with the glasses. They've got the touch. They still have a mouse. And a keyboard. How long will it take before we don't use that anymore?
If they haven't, if Final Cut Pro comes to the iPad, does that mean that the MacBook Pro will be a touchscreen finally?
I think that's going to be the first thing we'll see, is something that's emerging of an iPad or the MacBook Pro. We all think, when is this? I keep pricing out a Mac Pro, and every time I price it, it's like $15,000. It's because I want this and I want that.
Sure,
it's
sure.
like, but I think that probably, you might see something like that before we see anything else. Is how is the MacBook Pro going to evolve? I mean, what's Brad, the Bay Area filmmaker, Supermeet, for the summit. I remember that was the year when they came out with the redesigned MacBook, And I always remember seeing people showing off that they're editing Final Cut Pro on that new design MacBook. And I bought one, I remember it, but that didn't have the Thunderbolt chipset in it, I believe. Now that they have it, but
no,
I'm just saying
the 2016 MacBook Pro was the one where they ditched a lot of the ports and they went to 4 Thunderbolt 3/USB-C ports.
Right.
In 2016. Right. I wasn't actually at the Creative Summit in 2015. I really wish I had been, but then I made it out for 2016 and the subsequent ones. And it was, and that first, I remember that first one was when they had the Apple event. On the first day of the, it was like the day before, but we put it up on we had the FMC guys put it up on the projectors, and I remember Patrick Southern coming into the room after getting off a plane, and that was the first time I kind of met him, and then meeting Richard. It was a fun time.
Yep, absolutely. So what about...
Did you go this past year? Oops.
Virtually, yeah, they had the virtual
one.
Right. Okay.
That was my question. What's going to happen this year, do you think?
I don't know. NAB is supposed to be in person in the fall, so we'll see.
Right. October. During that same week, I believe, Adobe is having Adobe Max, which I love going to. And of course, IBC now is faced with, did they announce dates November, December?
November, my gosh.
November?
So there's a lot, right. I believe it's November. So there is a lot going on. And I'm still, back to the basic question, that's the biggest question I have with me. My concern, Supermeets, you have over 1,000 people in one room. How am I going to adapt? How am I, are the hotels going to be ready to work with me how are we going to social distance at a Supermeet? That just doesn't, you're supposed to kiss and hug everyone,
Well, but the same with NAB. I mean, is everybody going to wear a mask at NAB? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All I know is how difficult it is to use the restroom at NAB. There's always long lines. How are they going to manage all that? Really? Are they going to turn Silver Lot into a big bathroom, or I don't know. But it's I hope something does happen, because we're all antsy and want to get out of the house. I'm ready to do, in terms of I'll do something, whether it's going to be a hybrid or a virtual thing, whatnot. But the value.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, back to your buying the Mac Pro. Richard, you gave me really good advice. You told me that if I used a combination of my business account and my Apple Card, I think I got 4% total off of that purchase. So that makes a difference. You're talking about $15,000. That saves you a lot of money, right?
But when I got mine when it came out in 2019, Apple had a 6% back on the Apple Card for Apple purchases in 2019, December 2019. 6% back.
I missed it. Yeah, I missed it. I think I bought
that
mine
1 year they did that. So,
Well, do you remember when Apple was giving a pretty hefty discount? I think it was 25% off for educators and trainers and whatnot.
They still do. Educators, not trainers. They dropped the trainer discount. They used to do trainers. They used to give us one hardware purchase a year. We'd get a big discount. Maybe it was 25%. One hardware purchase a year. And then they just said, nah, we're not going to do it anymore. You guys, whatever.
It's funny that you say that. Yeah, it's funny that you say that, Serena, because I just saw this post today. You see these memes. Do I say it right? Mem or meme? Whatever. Memes on memes, whatever, on Facebook. And someone put, I think it was Ben King actually who posted it. You got $1,300, to start a business, but you end up buying the $1,300 iPhone because it's you got to have the best. It's like, where do you put your logic and money at?
Yeah.
People who are not in our business don't understand why we need all of this equipment, but
especially the iPhone. Yeah.
I have two of them. I have an A cam and a B cam.
Yeah, I
got the 11, and now I need the 12. I don't have the 12 yet.
Here's my other one, right there. That's my iPhone 6S Plus. Is my overhead cam.
Monitor?
overhead cam. See, it's
Okay.
overhead.
Yep.
Here's my keyboards. And
Good to see you using ATEM.
no, this is
Is that an
the
ATEM?
Ecamm. No, that's Ecamm Live. This is a Stream Deck.
Oh, Stream Deck. I'm sorry.
Stream
Yeah.
Deck XL.
Okay.
And this is my camera in the backyard that I can zoom in and out of, the bird cam. And then this is my audio interface, which is an Apollo Twin X.
Yeah.
This is a iPhone 6s Plus up there.
Okay.
That's my overhead cam.
Didn't you
Oh,
just
look at
click
you.
that,
There you
Brad? I
go.
can't see it.
Like,
Is that the Mini Pro?
it's the Pro ISO. I just upgraded from the Pro to the Pro ISO. And at one of the jobs we work, we have the Extreme Pro ISO, which has just got a ridiculous amount of buttons.
Did you sell your other one then?
In the process, somebody's testing it out.
Okay.
And seeing if it'll work for them, and then I'll probably sell it to him if it works. And then, and I bought that one. It had been used for a month, and they decided they wanted to upgrade to the Extreme, so I bought that one. We're using it on a YouTube show called Cinema Therapy. There's my shameless plug, but I help with that show. It's got over 400,000 subscribers now. We kind of grew magically over the last few months.
Excellent.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
It's fun.
Why wouldn't you have more than one ATEM at that point? You can always find a way to use two in tandem.
Use two, yeah. So we do basically, it's just in a little home theater basement. We've got 3 cameras set up, and then we switch between. So we play clips from movies. We've got my friend Alan, who helped with Off the Tracks. He's the filmmaker, an unlicensed filmmaker. And then we have his friend Jonathan Decker, who is a licensed family therapist. And I guess Jonathan's style when he works with clients is he likes to pull examples from movies and relate that to people's personal struggles in life. So they decided to make a YouTube show, and I've been lucky enough to help them. We're shooting this week, actually. So anyway,
Excellent.
That's what I use
Cinema
for.
How do you handle
Cinema
the rights on those
therapist?
clips? Is that
Cinema
fair
therapy.
use?
I'm going to that.
I'm just
Thank you
now
for mentioning
subscribing. I'm subscribing right now. How do you handle the licensing of the clips? Is it fair use?
So I know when I don't actually have to. I haven't had to. I've just helped with the production side mostly up to this point. But YouTube instantly flags it, and then you dispute it as a fair use thing. Everybody's been cool about clearing the licensing because it is, if you're discussing or whatever, it falls under that fair use. And I think the hitting that YouTube algorithm was, part of them saying like, oh yeah, this is good content. We're good with it. The only company I think that's been a little bit of a struggle is Universal and getting that stuff cleared. So it's like, well, I guess we'll just review less Universal movies, but
there you go.
Everybody else has been, even Disney, a lot of Disney stuff has been easy to clear it. And it's just how are you using the content? I think that they care about, but it does have to go through a little bit of a process. Multiple episodes have been held up before. I think now though it's on a clear track.
I've got lots of clips from movies. I have lots of clips from movies I worked on. Stallone is recutting Rocky IV. Woohoo!
I just saw that.
That's gonna
Tell
be
me
fun.
about that.
What does that mean? He's recutting it.
He's recutting it.
As an editor?
He's got an editor working on it, recutting it, and he mentioned that he's even redoing the hits, the boxing hits and everything. So I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him yet. I'm going to write to him because I worked on the original one. I think it'd be really fun to somehow do something with it. Wouldn't it be fun?
Stallone lived in my neighborhood in Silver Spring. He lived in Montgomery Hills. Yes, he lived in Montgomery Hills in Silver Spring, right up the road from me. He's older than me, but my brother knew him. I forget what his name was. He wasn't Sylvester, because you would have got beat up if your name was Sylvester back in those days. And he was not a boxer in those days. He was a little skinny kid. But he used to go to Nick the Greek's Delicatessen where they had pinball machines. He lived in Montgomery Hills. Yeah. I didn't know that. I saw him on TV one night on Johnny Carson or something. And he talked about growing up in Montgomery Hills, Maryland. And I said, that's right here. What are you talking about? And that's where he grew up down here. So
my memory of Rocky IV.
Rocky IV, that was fun.
Yeah,
if
my
you wanna
memory
talk
of Rocky
about
IV
autism,
was, yeah, my memory was I was a theater manager at the Sac Pie Alley in Boston, and there was a large glass window that everyone was lined up against, and there was such a big line that the glass actually broke, and they had to close down the theater on premiere
oh,
night.
wow.
Ugh, it was scary, but
Yeah, we were the
that's the
first blockbuster to come out at Thanksgiving. It was really not heard of until then. We were the first one, right? You'll know that because you were in the theater business. Everybody always waited till Christmas, and I thought,
Right.
well, let's go a little bit earlier and get the edge on, and it worked.
I remember when Rocky III came out, and that was I was a manager of another theater back then. That was a lifesaver for a sub-run movie theater. It was great.
Yeah, it
Sly,
didn't
he'll
work out.
talk to you. I'm sure, Serena, he'll talk to you.
It would
How,
be fun.
how
I
tall
remember
is
when
he?
I walked into his bungalow at the studio, and I was doing marketing and publicity and stuff, and I had the book with all of the slides, and I needed to meet with him because he had approval. And I walked in, and I'm turning that way, and I'm talking to the receptionist, and all of a sudden I hear upstairs, "Yo, Serena, come on up." You know? And it was, I don't know, one of those moments you don't forget. "Yo, Serena, come on up."
One of his latest films, was it just Rocky Balboa? Was that the name of it? I
I
forget.
I
think
think
so.
so. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah,
really been following.
I actually liked that one. I liked it. But anyways,
So I'm looking forward to WWDC in June. We only have 2 more months left. It's at the second week of June, I think. So we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to something happening with Final Cut Pro, hopefully in June.
I'm interested in
Me
how
too.
they'll handle the virtual part of it. Right?
Of the
It's all
WWDC?
virtual, right?
Yeah.
Well, they did it last
Okay.
year. They did it where they had all the sessions like pre-recorded. They had the live event, and then there's all the other
Right.
training stuff that people used to go
Yeah.
out and break out.
Yes. Since
different
I don't
rooms.
go to those, I really don't care. I thought the WWDC last year was probably one of the best ones I've ever had, the virtual one. So
Yeah.
all I want to see is Final Cut Pro on that screen. That's all I want to see. Right?
Or
Sure.
the all new Final Cut Pro.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's listen, it's been people talk about features, but I talk about innovation. What has been innovative in Final Cut Pro in the last 2 or 3 years? Innovation. Not copying something somebody else has, not doing a proxy workflow. Other companies already done that. Not, innovation like the magnetic timeline, innovation like the live skimmer, innovation, even the timeline index is very innovative to me, the way they used it. We haven't seen innovation for a long time in Final Cut, so hopefully that's one of the things they're working on, some new stuff.
I hope it's holographic.
I just want to edit video.
Don't
I'm going to
laugh.
edit
It could
my iPhone
very
video.
well be.
I've been saying for quite a few years now, I want to play with holographic. I think that would be great. You could beam into your studio, Richard.
Have you seen the Loom Pad? I think it's like Lumapad or Loompad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my brother was showing me one of those, but it basically was the technology that was on the red hydrogen phone.
Oh, okay.
It's not quite there. It's kind of blurry. It looks like one of those 3D cards, hologram cards that you used to get.
Yeah.
So if you look at it the wrong angle, it doesn't look quite right. But it's interesting, to see depth and from a flat, screen. So I think
Do you have to be in the dark room, or
it helps if it's not super bright around, but you can be anywhere and kind of see it. It isn't quite as bright, but and the resolution is what kind of killed me. When it's in 2D mode, it's super sharp, and then goes to 3D, and everything's all fuzzy, and you can see all the squares. But it's interesting technology that I'd love to see develop further, integrating some of that like light field photography that Lytro had and everything. Maybe it's the glasses though. Dan keeps popping on the glasses, and I think that might
I don't
be a
want you
better
to
way
think
do it.
that I have any in the know. I'm on the scale of people that they contact. Well, they don't contact me, so I have no idea. But I'm just supposing, because I like to think visionary, and I like the idea of holographic. Imagine like these holographs that are like maybe 3 inches above your table, and you can just swipe them and go and move them and all that. But I also own an Oculus Quest, and I'm a big fan of that. Although I'm not going to go and buy the new one. I'm fine with the one I have. But the ability to view content that way, is it going to continue? Are they going to, obviously Apple's going to come out with their version of augmented reality, but where are they going to take that? Are they going to do, what is it? Virtual, just, be interesting to see how they already have the technology. It's just all about marketing.
I'm going to play this last clip. This is one of my favorite parts of the documentary Off the Tracks. You'll recognize it.
So I go to sleep that night. I wake up the next morning. I go online to my normal sources, and everybody is just angry as hell. What happened? And it's iMovie Pro, and it's, oh my God, you've destroyed editing, and everything is going to fall apart. And I was going, what the heck? There's a disconnect between what the internet chatter is and what the actual experience of people with something like a product launch is. Nobody had seen it, nobody had touched it, but everybody had an opinion about it.
Yep.
That's called the world today, isn't it? It's not just, well, seriously, it's just everybody's a coronavirus expert. Everybody's a this person expert, and everybody has my opinion's the only opinion that matters. I don't care about your opinions. Whatever.
I just canceled YouTube TV, and I don't watch news at all anymore.
I don't either.
I don't know how that applies to what we're talking about now, but interesting. No, you're right, Richard.
Yep.
Okay, Blue Shark. Love it.
Thanks
Blue
for
Shark.
having us on, Richard.
But
Absolutely.
it should be
Nice to
this
see
is
everybody.
this the comment on the Blue Shark made me think I should have the Blue Shark versus Bruce the Yak. That'll be the next.
There you go. I love the Yak. I love the Yak.
Yeah.
I used to show my classes when I was teaching Final Cut Pro 7 Classic. I'd show them how to get the Yak. They had no idea. Half of them had no idea what that was.
Yak scared me. What's wrong?
I still have the EPS Illustrator file for the Yak, and just want to use it again. But somebody actually is. I just read on, I think, Mac Rumors or something. Someone's there was like a Flippy Bird or something like that they're going to actually make into Mac notifications and stuff like that, and just made me think of Bruce the Yak. But
yeah.
There's a group in France that named themselves Yak 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 Yak. I mean,
I saw that. Yes,
those were the days. I'm telling you. My God.
All right, before we go, I want to do one more plug here. I want to plug. I'll get my. Where is the webpage? Here it is. Off the Tracks.
Woo-hoo.
Off the Tracks.
Off
the Tracks movie. You can buy it from $190. Where can you buy it for $199?
No, that's rent. That's a rental.
It says buy from $199. Yeah, that's what I thought. So rent from $199. You buy it for $8. Come on. OffTheTracksMovie.com. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the VHX one. You can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And then I have a YouTube channel with a abridged cut that you can watch for free. So I'm just trying to make it as available and out there as possible.
Absolutely.
Well, you'll see another rental today because I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, it's great.
I got Amazon Prime. Just go on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Money,
that's cool.
So it just depends on how much money you want to give me. But it's fine. I have it up there for a reason.
We appreciate you.
Good job today, Richard. You're awesome with this ECM.
What would actually help the most is if people gave it positive reviews on. There's some people, like, I don't have a lot of ratings on IMDb and Amazon, and there's some people just like, I hate this. So positive reviews of the documentary help.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got a comment. Is there a VHS copy available from Gert?
I could make one.
Gert, our comedian.
Sell
our
it on
Pro
eBay
comedian.
for big bucks.
Yeah. It's the bootlegged copy.
And offer
People
special
are still
features,
buying
special
DVDs.
content.
Yeah.
People are still buying DVDs out in the hinterlands. They want
Well,
a DVD.
the Blu-ray, yes, Blu-ray, absolutely.
Mhm.
I just bought a 4K UHD player. I don't know why, but I did.
I just bought a 65-inch Sony OLED.
There you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was on
Nice.
the A8H model. Was last year's model was on sale. It went up a little bit in price this week, so I felt better about myself. But it was the same price as the LG, so I was like, let's get the Sony.
There you go. All right, everybody. I'm gonna go get some lunch. I haven't gotten lunch yet today. So,
All right,
thanks everybody for coming on. Of course, Dan,
great to see you all.
Serena, Brad.
Thank you, everyone. It's great
Thank
to
you,
hear
Richard.
people still talking about this, and this
Yeah.
is like a mini meetup. So I appreciate
Yeah.
this, and it's total serendipity of how it happened. Where I just saw your posts on Facebook, and now here I am. That's great. I love it.
Listen, Dan. We appreciate that. That was an iconic Supermeet. I mean, from Final Cut Pro editors, it really was. So
no, it absolutely was, and I'm glad that it's still being talked about, and and of course, Brad has a lot to do with that, and I appreciated when Randy was able to talk about it, and it all comes down to storytelling, community, and it's all about the light. And then now you put that all together is, anyways.
absolutely.
Birthday apple.
Well, the birthday's in June 21st.
Well,
This-
for us,
this-
it's today.
This is the worldwide sneak preview at the Supermeet. We didn't actually get it till June 21st. Now that's why I say WWDC or the birthday is when we're going to see a new version of Final Cut 10.6, whatever the heck they want to call it. Who the heck cares? I just want to see a new version.
Maybe in October at NAB.
No, they got to get out before that. They got to. It's been too long. All right. Thanks everyone for showing up.
Thank you.
We'll
Bye.
see everybody later.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Enjoy your day.
Bye.
Bye.